working on this Vendo 81B, and got towards the bottom of the cabinet and realized that the drain tube had broke off. So there's a drain tube that goes underneath this cabinet here. It's hard to explain, but basically just figure that when product gets hot and cold, it's going to condensate, and that moisture is going to go to the low spot in the drain, and that's going to divert the moisture from the product down this hole. It's supposed to collect it in a jar or a drip pan here on the louver, and so you can see that you started getting a lot of moisture down below because you can't divert the moisture into the jar because the tube's broken. So when the tube's broken, all the water just goes and sits in between the tub liner and the false floor of the machine. So I've got the breaker strips off, and then I've got the nuts off the studs of the cabinet to hold the tub liner in place. So when you pull this liner out, I've already started scraping. I'm going to show you why you take these liners out. So you can see that when you start working on these machines, you want to get these floors, at least pull the tub out, because you can see you've got all this water and moisture, and I mean, it's like basically just standing water. You can see that it's just collected in the floor of the cabinet. So this is actually the cabinet floor. So you have the insulation, then you have the tub, and then below the tub you have the false floor. So you can see that all this junk will just have to be cleaned out. And so the reason a lot of these machines, not necessarily 81s, but the cabinets get belt line rust, is because you get a lot of moisture that sits and it collects and sits on the floor because it can't go down the drain because the drain tube is broken. You can see on this 81B here, if you look carefully and move some of this insulation out of the way, it's never been opened because you can see all the pink primer inside the cabinet. But if you look carefully, you can start to see where that water was sitting for a very long time in this cabinet. And you just start pulling it away. You can see you got all this moisture in this cabinet. So this is why you pull the liners on a machine, even if you're just going to refurbish it. I mean, it's not going to cost you that much. I mean, it's very easy to take the breaker strips off and take the nuts that hold the liner in place, and just slide that liner out, and you can see that a lot of this insulation is still, I mean, it's going to have a smell to it, so you might as well just replace it. But you can see that we didn't have any areas affected on the actual cabinet. It's just the floor itself. So my gut feeling was when the tube was broken that you better go ahead and pull the liner, because you're going to have moisture down on the floor. And sure enough, start to peel away some of the layers, and you've got nothing but problem down here. It sits about, you know, it's sitting about, you know, a couple inches high, and it's starting to eat away at the cabinet. You can see it starting to eat away. So this is going to have to be all taken out, wire wheeled down to bare metal as much as you can get all the rust off, and then we're going to have to treat it with Por 15, and then from Por 15 we'll go ahead and use a Flexi-Seal or a Herculiner to seal this cabinet up and make it waterproof. But this is just 101 issues that you're going to have with these machines. And so if you're refurbishing, take the extra couple hours and do it, because if you don't, you'll be paying for it. So that is an 81B. What we're talking about is getting moisture and water in between the tub liner and the floor, and that sitting in the floor and basically just eating the floor away in the cabinet. So It's interesting because you had that moisture sitting there for so long, but the insulation is in between the tub liner and the cabinet. So if you look at the actual tub itself, we don't have any damage to the actual tub liner itself. If you look at the bottom of the tub, surprisingly enough, if we bring this down, you'll see that the tub itself actually did not suffer much damage. So that insulation did provide quite a bit of protection on the actual galvanized tub. But again, the emphasis is on the actual floor of the cabinet, and that's where we're talking about getting that fixed. So hopefully that's helpful for people that are looking at refurbishing some of these cabinets at a minimum, is to pull these liners out and look below the tub, make sure that you don't have these problems. So if any questions, go ahead and comment.